Yes. So welcome everyone. Yeah, I have been working with Upgrad for almost 3 years now. It has been nothing but fantastic, to be honest. And I have almost 6 or 7 years of experience in machine learning, data science, and AI, right? From the very beginning, like when it was just like supervised and classifying cats and dogs. And I'm currently working as a senior data scientist at Giza Systems in Egypt. And I have been teaching courses and programs with Upgrad for almost 3 years now, as you said. And I really enjoy teaching. I worked as a teaching assistant at the university, research assistant. I have my own courses. I enjoy teaching people new material and new courses, and I'm very excited about this.
Great, great. So we've seen people coming from tech background as well as non-tech, Ahmed. We people joining from Virginia. Abdul has front-end development experience for around 5 years. Robert has 2 years of tech experience. Jacob is joining from Germany. So now over to you. Do teach us DALL-E. Like I know DALL-E and Craiyon, ChatGPT, all these are very trending tools, and I personally want to learn it. That's why I've joined the session, apart from being the host. So I'll put myself on mute. I'll go switch off the camera, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. And let's get started. So the way I prefer to teach any material is by having an interactive session, right? So I don't really call them session. I call them more of workshops, right? Because it's more hands-on. You will see me answering the questions all the time. So if you have any question at any moment, just write down in the chat, and you will see that I will stop what I am doing if it's not important, or if I can continue after that, and I will answer a question. Of course, at the end, we will have a Q&A section for any question that you have in mind. But if you have any question while I'm teaching the material, please don't hesitate to ask the question. Also, you will see that we have a lot of discussions, a lot of questions that I have prepared for you. So please be encouraged to answer. There is no wrong answers. Every single answer is correct. So let's get started. Today we are talking about generative AI, and the topic is a little bit different than ChatGPT that we all know. It's on another exciting thing that has been going for a year or 2 years now, and it's still developing. So we are lucky to see the GAI while it's still developing, because by becoming an expert from this early stage, imagine yourself in 5 years, like you will be the expert in this field, right? So what we are going to talk about today, we're going to talk about two use cases, DALL-E and Crayon's canvas, and we will talk about the ethical consideration, because this is a very, very important topic. If you are going to dive deep into the topic of generative AI, you must know the ethical considerations and what you should do while developing the generative AI models. If you don't, then it will become a huge problem for you and for your startup, for your team, for your project, for whatever. Okay, so as we said, we will start with what is generative AI, and then we will go through the two use cases we have prepared for us today, and we will talk about the ethical considerations regarding AI. Okay, so let's get started. First, I want to introduce myself. I already did. My name is Ahmed Wael. I'm from Egypt. I have more than 6 years of experience in machine learning, data science, and deep learning. I have been working as a subject matter expert with Upgrad for almost 3 years now. And I'm currently working as a full-time senior data scientist at Giza Systems here in Egypt. I'm working on very interesting projects regarding data science, and I'm actually using ChatGPT all the time in my work. And this is me, right? So before we even start talking about what is generative AI, I want to hear from you. So I will open the chat right now, and I will see your answers. What comes into your mind when you hear generative AI? Like in one sentence or even in one word. Can you describe what is generative AI? A formal definition, informal definition, whatever you have in mind, just write it down in the chat. and let's have this discussion. What did you hear about generative AI? Is it good? Is it bad? What is it actually? Is it hyped, or it's actually that fascinating? What did you hear? So please write down in the chat right now. It might steal jobs, right? Yeah, this is one of the huge discussions that we have in the media all the time, right? It might steal some jobs. And this is partially true. It will introduce new jobs and it will steal other jobs, right? Like it's the development that has been going for decades, right? When we had the revolution, the industrial revolution, people were replaced by machines, right? By actual machines, not robots. But then other jobs started to emerge, like engineering and technical fields had like more promising careers. But of course, like the manual labor was reduced. Generative AI is a trained chatbot who lives on information humans feed. This is like a great description. It lives on information humans feed. This is a key idea about generative AI. Generative AI, yes, it's generative. It's generating new things, but it's generating based on what you have fed it, right? So if I give it images of black cats, all the data set is black cats, it's very hard for it to like generate an orange cat, right? Or a Siamese cat. It will generate a black cat because that's what it was trained on. This is what it was fed. Okay. GANs, I'm not so responsible. I'm driving right now. Please stay safe and try to focus on your driving and hear us from like a Bluetooth or earbuds or something like that. But yes, GANs. GANs is the key idea. GANs stand for Generative Adversarial Network, right? And it's a special type of neural network. We will not go into the depths of GANs, transformers, and all of this right now. We will leave this to the actual program that you will enroll in. But the main idea that introduced all the generative AI is GANs, right? Now, can you give me examples of generative AI? I see someone said chatbots. Do you have any other examples other than chatbots? Any other idea about generative AI? Like some examples for generative AI other than chatbots or ChatGPT? Any idea? Did someone hear about generative music? Right, so generative music, yes, stable fusion, that's correct. And we have generative music, right? So we can basically generate music from Mozart music, for example. It's a new symphony that was not developed by Mozart at all, but it's using the Mozart style, right? We can generate a song for whatever singer, like using some lyrics for another singer, and we see this singer singing a song that is not his or hers, right? So this is called generative music. We have also generative art, and this is what this session is focusing on. So we can generate new images, we can generate new art style from nothing, just a prompt, and we can just write, please give me a monkey on the moon, right? Or a donkey on the moon, whatever you want, the AI will generate it for you, right? So we call this generative art. One other thing that I have seen in the, like, just last month, this was introduced just last month, it's called generative games. So I saw in the news that a AAA publisher is producing a game right now that is all generative. So the text is generative, the story is generative, the animation, the characters, the motions, every single thing in the game is done by generative AI. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We will see. But it's opening the field. It's opening the field for ideas and imagination. We see Michelle saying digital ecosystem. Yes, we have like a huge companies, startups, new ideas emerging all the time from how we can use the ecosystem, right? The digital ecosystem, and use generative AI and leverage generative AI in it. Okay. Now let's talk about the formal definition, right? We had some informal discussion, but if we want to have a formal definition for generative AI, we will say the following. We will say that generative AI is a subset of AI focused on autonomous content creation. So what does this mean? It means that generative AI is not AI, right? It's just a subset of AI. If you have any technical background about machine learning or AI, either in school, from upgrad courses, from any other place, you know that we have something called supervised machine learning, we have unsupervised machine learning, we have reinforcement learning, we have even traditional AI like playing chess and algorithms and all of that. So generative AI is just a subfield from AI. It's the most promising one right now, or the most hyped one right now, but it's just a subset of AI. And it focuses on, like you said a few minutes ago, autonomous content creation based on what? Based on generating new information that is basically human-like. So it's very, very hard to distinguish between what is real and what is fake or what is generated, because it's created from actual data that we feed to the AI, right? So using generative AI, we can create innovation in art, storytelling, science, economics, marketing, healthcare, whatever you can think of. Generative AI is being used right now as we speak. So today we are going to talk about, or we are going to go through, two use cases in the field of generative art, right? Because if we are going to talk about everything, it's going to take a course. It's going to take a complete certificate or diploma. And this is what the upgrade program is for. But right now we just have a workshop to open our minds, and that's it. So let's start with the first use case. The first use case is on an application called DALL-E, right? DALL-E. So what is DALL-E? DALL-E, we have DALL-E version 1 and DALL-E version 2. We will talk mainly about DALL-E version 2. So DALL-E is an AI system that can create realistic images and art from a description in a natural language. So you just give it a text, small text or a small prompt, and it can create realistic images and realistic art from what you have you have told it, right? Now, this application is developed by a company called OpenAI. I bet that you heard OpenAI before in the news or you accessed its website. Yes, it's the same company that gave us ChatGPT. So they developed the ChatGPT and they also developed DALL-E, right? They are two very promising and very popular tools right now in all the fields. Okay. Now, before we continue, just a small trivia question. Do you have any idea, or can you guess where the name came from? So we have DALL-E right here, right? Can you tell me DALL-E is short for what? Any guess? It has to mean something, right? So where the name came from? Wall-E movie. Yes, that's correct. And we have Salvatore. Yes, so we have Salvatore DALL-E or DAL, right? And we have Wall-E, right? So Salvador Dal, for those who don't know, is one of the most famous artists and painters in the world, right? He has a very, very unique style in art. And Wall-E is a movie about a robot, right? The robot was named Wall-E. So DALL-E is short for, or it's a combination between robot, right, and the most, or one of the most famous artists in the world, right? And because his name was like very similar to Wall-E, right? So that's why we have this name. This name is basically describing that we have a robot that can do art, right? Or a robot artist. Okay, so this is where the name originated from. Now, to understand how Wall-E works, we will have this video. Let me open it, and I will also share it with you. Let me share with you in the everyone. Okay, you can access the website right now. And let me share. Okay, I can see. Yeah, this is the OpenAI website. And you can see here that ChatGPT is one of the products from this company. And they also introduced DALL-E, right? So DALL-E is an AI system that can create realistic images and art from a description or in natural language, right? So if you check the video here, I will not go through it. It's just 2 minutes, but I will not go through every single thing in the video. But basically, you can see here that you can create from a random noise image, you can create a polar bear playing bass, right? Or you can create a robot painted like Picasso, right? So using the Picasso style, you can create an image of, or an art of a robot, right? So how this was done, right? Like koala dunking a basketball. This is like, it's very clear that this is not real, because there is nothing like this in the actual world. But maybe you can believe that Picasso drew this this art, right? What DALL-E can also do is that it can take an image, an actual image, like an image of a dog, and it can convert it to an image of a cat, right? So just like what you do in Photoshop, right? You can, DALL-E was the first version, and then in DALL-E version 2, they had a higher resolution, introduced new things like in-painting, and we will discuss what in-painting is. But basically, the idea behind DALL-E is that they use, again, network, right? Generative adversarial network, as well as a transformer. A transformer is another building block in deep learning and generative AI. And using these two techniques, they developed a very, very large and complex deep neural network that is basically images of koalas, for example, and images of motorcycles. But they didn't like have this network alone and this network alone. No, what they did is that they combined the two networks, so we have connections between koalas and motorcycles. So we can understand the concept of a koala riding a motorcycle, right? Like if we give it koala riding motorcycle, it will give us these examples, right? Because it learned what is a koala, it learned what is a motorcycle, and it was fused between them, right? So if we go through what are the applications of DALL-E, or not the application, but basically what it can do 4 things. It can generate new images, like an astronaut riding a horse in realistic settings. It can do outpainting. So outpainting, you give it an original image, like this very, very famous painting, and I tell it, please give me an outpainting of this painting. So what will happen is that it will take the style of this painting and it will put it in a scene. This scene is completely imaginary. It's completely generative. This is not real at all. Okay? It can do the opposite. It can do in painting. So we give it an image, and let's say I want to add a flamingo beside the pool. So there's nothing here. Now we have a flamingo. Okay? And finally, it can create variations from the same image. So we give it an actual image, and I tell it, please give me variations of this specific image. Okay, so this is an original image, and we can create variations of this image. So these are the 4 things that DALL-E version 2 can do, right? How does it do it? Using transformers and GANs, okay? Now, let me go back to the slides to continue, and we will get back here. So now that we have like a high level understanding on like what are the applications or what are the things that DALL-E can do and how it works on a very, very high level. As we said, the core idea behind DALL-E is nothing more than a neural network that combines the GAN architecture, in the native adversarial network, and the transformers. And by doing so, and by a lot of data, it was trained on millions and millions and millions of images using very powerful machines. It was able to understand and generate images from descriptions, right? So it's designed to think visually instead of thinking like in a text format, right? It understands the text, but it will create an image that is visually correct. Okay. Now, what are some use cases for DALL-E? We have art and creativity. We can use it to create art. This is very, very obvious. But we can use it also for advertising and marketing. Like here, the webinar that we have, the logo, everything, we can do this right now using DALL-E. Create a logo for the company that has this color, and it should be focused for people who has technical background or business background. So it will do something like this. We can do it also for concept exploration. So you can just think about anything, right? And you don't really understand it, or you don't really have a clear idea from the text. So we say that the image is worth 1,000 words, right? So you can just write a few words and you can understand the concept by looking at them, okay? Accessibility, we can use it for visual impairments, right? So if you have any visual impairments, you can't really see small text, you can understand the text by seeing the image that's describing the text. We can use it for entertainment. Right now in movies, we have CGIs and all of that. And instead of this, we can use DALL-E and its variants to introduce new scenes, introduce new concepts, and so on. We can use it in education, so we can use it in educational programs and so on for schools and for universities. And finally, we can use it like artists are the main user of this application, to be honest, because by taking the image and enhancing it, prototyping, we can create something that is much better than what we have right now. Of course, these applications are things that I thought about, but these are not the only things. You can think about many applications for DALL-E, right? Now, unfortunately, DALL-E is not like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is open source. You can use it to some limit, but it's currently free, right? But the DALL-E API is currently paid, and we will access its API from here just to show you how it's used. So let me go to this link, create a new share, and let me share the link with you in the chat. Okay. So it's very similar to the ChatGPT API or web page. You write here what you want to have a visual description on, but unfortunately, we don't have any credits right now. And in order to buy credits, you need at least $15, right? But if you look here, you will see some examples of the text and the images that were generated. So let's take a look on a few examples. Here we have 3D render of a cute tropical fish in an aquarium on a dark blue background, digital art. So we see here, this is digital art. This is a fish, and it's a tropical fish. And we have a black blue background. Here, an oil painting by Matisse of an humanoid robot playing chess. So this is a famous artist as well, and this image is completely imaginary, right? Now, this is an interesting one. A blue orange sliced in half, laying on a blue floor in a front of a blue wall. Now, by looking at this one, or maybe if you are an expert in art, you will say that these two are fake, right? Because you know that Matisse didn't draw this one. And you know that this is a generated one, so it doesn't matter if it's generated by like a software or AI, but this is very, very challenging, right? Because I cannot really say that this is a generated image, right? This one here, I cannot say that this is a generated image. It's very, very hard to do so because it looks like it's very, very, very realistic. So that's one of the ethical considerations we will talk about today. This one is very like, maybe the only thing that is making it seem fake is that it's a blue orange, right? So maybe if it was blue, then I would say 100% this is accurate. Now, as we said, the DALL-E application is right now paid. So in order to use it, you need to pay some money. And there are a lot of technical details. These technical details we are not interested in right now, but you will definitely learn and apply with upgrade courses. Okay. Now, does this mean that we will not use DALL-E today? No. But this means that we are going to see an open source free version of DALL-E. Maybe not the same level of quality and the same level of results, but it's very, very close. So what we have is called Crayon's canvas, right? So this is a free DALL-E mini version, right? So DALL-E, as we said, it's DALL-E and then DALL-E version 2, and then we have DALL-E mini. So the DALL-E mini has lighter weights. It was trained on a smaller data set. The network itself, the neural network is a little bit smaller in order to be faster and can be used online without a lot of resources. And the most important thing is that it's currently free and it's promised to be free in the future. So we can use Crayon's canvas to collaborate with AI to generate images real time. And we will see right now how we can do this. It has a user-friendly interface and it's integrated with DALL-E. And actually, the people who developed DALL-E are the people who developed this website or this tool that you can use for free. Okay, so we can use it to empower artists, designers, and innovators, and even normal people like me and you. Okay, so now let's go to the live demo and see what we can do with Crayon's canvas. So let me share the link with you as well and show you the website. Okay, please, I want you to access the website right now. This is really, really interesting. And right here, you write down what you want to generate. So like enable your imaginative mind and write down whatever you want. And here you select if it's an art style, a drawing style, or a photo style. Okay, or anything that it will give you. Negative words, what are negative words? Basically, these are the words that you, or the things you don't want to see in your image. Let's say you don't want to generate it in a blue background. So just write blue background and it will not generate blue background. Okay, so write down in the chat right now, like the prompt that you want me to use to generate an image. Think about anything and write it down in the chat. And let's see how well it's doing. So I will give you a few seconds to think about a good prompt to create an image. Any idea? Bunny playing lawn tennis. Yeah, this is a funny one. Let's see it. And also the rest of you, please write down like any prompt you think about. So let's do it in any style. And I will just click draw. It will take a few seconds to do so. And if you scroll down, you will notice that they have even, if you write down like bunny playing lawn tennis, maybe this is not the best prompt to create the best image. So once you have the images created, you will see here that it's giving you ideas on how you can improve the images. Of course, Jacob, rejoin again. That's completely fine. Okay. How did they do this? Basically, they used DALL-E and ChatGPT. So they are using like basically two things, right? Yeah, here bunny playing lawn tennis, right? You can see here this is a bunny and this is a tennis, and you can see here sometimes it's an art style, sometimes it's a photorealistic image of a bunny, and the bunny has a tennis and he is playing with the tennis, right? And it's giving us a better prompt. Adorable bunny holding a tennis racket. So maybe let's try this one and see if it gives us better results. And what about you? Like, what did you write down in the prompt in order to generate an image? Can you write down in the chat for me and for everyone else to know which prompt you used? Waiting for your answers. This is a very, very good question. Are these images free for us to use without copyright issue? Yes, it's a little bit surprising, but yes, you can take this image, any image that is created from your site, copy, paste, download. If you want to like have it on your shirt, you can do this, right? So yes, they are free without any copyright issue. Now, when we used Adorable Bunny holding a tennis racket, it gave us much, much better results, right? So here we have a bunny holding a tennis racket, right? Here we have another bunny holding a tennis racket. We have it in art style, bunny using the racket, right? So, and it can give you even better one, right? Lovable rabbit with a tennis racket in pool, right? Because maybe it's not in the pool in some of the images, so we can enhance it by writing a better prompt. Okay, so this is a Craiyon canvas. It's a free version of DALL-E that you can use with no copyright issues. Okay, if you have any questions, anything is not clear, please don't hesitate and ask right away. Now, given that we have completed the two use cases or the two case studies that we discussed today, now let's discuss the ethical considerations. I know that this might seem a little boring, or why are we discussing this? We should think about like the technical things and ignore the ethics or ignore the these talks, but these are very, very important right now. The regulation is already established and you need to use it in your work. Okay, so you need to know it before you use it, you need to know it. So what are the ethics of generative AI? We have some things we need to discuss. First, the bias in AI, the misinformation in AI, and the deep fake in AI. So these are three things we will discuss in a few seconds right now, but you need to have it in your mind. The bias, the misinformation, and the deep fakes. Then we have the ownership and the authentication, just like the upgrade team has said, like, can I use this image without any copyright issue? Like, do I have ownership over this image? This is a huge issue that we need to talk about. And the responsible AI development. We need to know how we can develop AI responsibly and following the guidelines and the regulations that are set by the community. So let's first discuss the bias and fairness. Just like I said at the beginning, and you said at the beginning, generative AI is built on what we feed, right? So if we give it images of orange fishes and please like generate images of fish, it will generate 100 images of fish. All of them are orange. Does this mean that all the fish are orange? No, but it was biased toward orange fish because this is what it learned. So we need to keep this in mind while generating the data and while training the machine learning and deep learning models, because otherwise it will lead to unfair representation in the generated content. Then we have the misinformation and the disinformation. Fabricated news all the time. And the fabricated news a few years ago was very, very easy to spot. And it was very hard for a person to fabricate some kind of news that is going to be believable. But now, using ChatGPT and other tools, you can generate fake news, you can misinform the public. So we need to fight this in a very strict manner. Okay, and finally, the privacy. Okay, so I think all of us has seen the video of the United States president in a video rapping, right? Singing a rap song, and this is completely false. But if you have no idea, you will say, okay, this is a video. How we can fake a video using technologies and tools like deepfake and the unauthorized image generation. I can write down right now the president of whatever country playing tennis, right, and generate this image. Was I authorized to generate this image? No, but I can. Unfortunately, I can. So the privacy is a very, very important issue when we discuss the generative AI. Now, the ownership and authentication. First, like, do I have a copyright on this generated image? I didn't do anything, right? I just went to the website and write down a prompt and I have an image. Can I sell this image? Can I create shirts using this image? Does this affect the creators and intellectual property? Maybe I can create a whole novel based on some author, some very, very famous author like The Lord of the Rings, right? And generate a novel using the same style and sell my book. Is this correct? Is this ethically right? Can we do this? This is a huge problem. The other thing is the authentication. How can we authenticate this generated content? Like the video I discussed or the orange image I have shown you. Like, how can we authenticate and trust the authenticity of this generated content? So these are not like easy to answer questions, right? We have a lot of debates, we have a lot of conferences, a lot of policies that has been going on in order to decide what should we do about all these topics. Now, basically, all these topics are addressed by responsible AI development. So we need to have some kind of guidelines and regulations in our AI development. And this guidelines or these regulations need to strike a balance between technical innovation, right? And how we can ensure that AI is not causing any harm. If you have been using ChatGPT for a while right now, you will know that ChatGPT a few months ago was much, much more powerful, a powerful tool like a scaring degree, right? But it was much, much more powerful than today, because right now it was restricted like in a huge way in order to limit some things that were not acceptable before. So we are trying to do this balance right now. Now, this is what we have in our discussion today. This is the Q&A section. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask right now. And I have also some ideas or some tools in order for you to explore in the maybe e-commerce field if you are interested, in the, I'm not sure, stopped sharing my screen. Not sure why this happened. Let me share again. Okay, the e-commerce field, as I said, or the healthcare field, or any other field that you want to discuss. So please write down in the Q&A section right now any questions that you have. We still have some time, so please, any question that you have regarding this session or regarding the upgrade courses, the content that we discussed, the AI in general, write down in the chat, please.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for sharing your views. And it was really interesting to see how adorable the images were, and it's absolutely free to use.
Yes.
I definitely will have some questions, but before we move on to questions, we have our program lead, Akash. He heads the generative AI programs, and he has a presentation to share with all of us. We have a 4 months program, Akash, if I'm not wrong, which is deeply focused on just generative AI. If you want to just talk about it with the people who've joined us today.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Siddhi. Yes, so we do have a 4 month long program that is specifically focusing on generative AI. Now, the reason why we have created this program in the first place, right, is like Ahmed mentioned, right, there are a lot of things that, is changing in the environment right now all around us, right? We do see on a daily basis how, with the advent of internet, right, we had seen white hat hackers plus black hat hackers, right? And we need a similar kind of environment in the future where, we are aware that there are always going to be wrongdoings that will happen, but we need people who can stop those things from happening, right? So we have created our learners in the past who have gone ahead and, worked in the field of ethical hacking, provide better security systems, improve on those for individual organizations. And this is exactly something that our learners would be doing in the field of generative AI as well, which is why we have introduced this program. Now, for someone to start with this program, they do not need to have a coding background. A basic understanding of Python is something that is really important. And that is something that we provide to our learners where they can go ahead and understand it and start from a very basic level. Once they get a hold of the program, then they can move ahead and learn more in depth about it and then move forward with that. Okay, I do hope my screen is visible. Do let me know if it is not.
Yes, if you can zoom in a little, Akash, I think that'll be great. Zoom into the
Sure,
entire page.
sure.
Yes,
Is this better?
yes. Thank you.
Sure. So now our advanced certificate program in generative AI is a 4 month long program. Firstly, on an average, if I have to recommend, right, it will take you about 10 to 12 hours. Assuming that you do want to study more, spend some more time on it, right, creating different projects, it will take you a couple of more hours every week and give you a better approach and a better understanding of the concepts that you would be learning in the program, right? When I say you would be learning things in the program, what I mean in particular, right, is that you are going to learn uh, competitive skills in this particular program. Uh, AI has, embarked on a transformative journey, and that is something that, our learners are going to go ahead and learn. Now, when it comes to the creative aspect to it, AI brings in a lot to add, right? And you are going to add valuable insights, some practical skills, and a competitive edge in your own presentation to your own profile. And that is something that you learn to gain a benefit on from this particular program. Now, if you can go through the details, right, you can see that the programs, the generative modules that we are having over here are up-to-date modules. These are some things that are as of date right now, and we are actually, updating this as we are moving forward with the cohorts. So any cohort that you join in, you'll always have the latest material to go through. You'll always have the latest course content to go through. Just to give you an idea, our learners are actually going to go ahead and create various AI-based generative platforms. The very first one that we put our learners through, right, is where they have to create an interview genie. What an interview genie is, it is an AI bot, a conversational bot that conducts an interview on behalf of an HR. It evaluates a candidate using certain standardized scoring and parameters, and provides feedback based on that and recommendation based on that to potential employers. Now, this is something that that can be highly used and is currently being used in the industry as well, right? And we are providing our learners the opportunity to go ahead and use them in the field. Similarly, there are many more projects that have been added and are being added as we are moving forward. Um, if I have to give an example of the fields that these can be utilized in, right, it can be a diaspora of it. It can be into writing, video editing, audio editing. You can use it for coding. Obviously, you'll be able to reduce a lot of your work doing the manual labor, but yes, you'll have to go through and supervise all of that. You'll be you can focus on increasing productivity in your workplace if you are someone in the C-suite profiles. Plus, like Ahmed showed, right, the images that are being created, this can be used for marketing campaigns. And since these are generated by AI, no one in particular holds the copyright to it. You would be able to amend these and use them accordingly to the best benefit of your organization. Okay. Now, having said that, there is going to be a total of 120 plus hours of learning that you'll have in this particular program. uh, we are providing our learners who are coming from all backgrounds an opportunity to go ahead and revise the content of Python programming. Or, if they are starting from the scratch, they can start with Python programming with our bootcamp program, and then start with the program. That gives them ample amount of time to prepare for it and then move forward with that. That is what it mentions over here. And when we say that we actually have generative AI masterclasses by industry experts, we actually have subject matter experts who have been working in this field for about a decade or more than a decade. If I have to give an example, Behzad Ahmadi is actually a machine learning engineer at Meta, that is Facebook, who is, a Masters of Tech graduate and a PhD from the Jersey Institute of Technology. And he is leading an entire vertical in data science and machine learning at Meta. Similarly, we have the head of research from Atlas AI, Georgius, who is there. He has about over 2 decades worth of experience in the field itself, and he has assisted in so many various programs out there. We have our own data science and ML programs head, that is Shadid Jain, who has been in the field for over a decade now. And similarly, we have the director of Tradens, that is Mr. Ankush. He is an alumni of IIT Kanpur. IIT is one of the most prestigious universities, if not the best, from all across the globe. Uh, at times, we do see that the entry criteria for IITs are much harder to crack than for MITs, right? And these are just the competition that our learners go through in the real world itself, right? Having said that, the programs that are being created by these professionals, right, is something that gives you a competitive edge, that, as we have been saying. And ideally, we recommend you to study for 14 to 16 hours in a week. 10 to 12 hours is dedicated for the program study, and the remaining 2 hours to 3 hours is for the coursework that you do go through. Now, there are going to be about 7 hands-on project. It says 6 plus over here. We actually have 7 at the moment that you would be working on. Having said that, the way these programs are designed is that you would be doing these in a live classroom environment. When I say it is going to be a live classroom environment, you will be in a session with these subject matter experts. You would be creating the capstone project or the project of generative AI altogether. And any obstruction that you face or any challenges that you face, right, in real time, those would be looked into real time and resolved. These are not pre-recorded sessions that you would be going through. Obviously, we do have a couple of content that you can go through in a pre-recorded format, but mostly our focus is on to creating a live classroom environment, help you figure out these challenges as you are creating these platforms, and ensure that these there are multiple scenarios that are added in and multiple logics that are put in that can help you move forward with the program journey and create your eventual platform. Now, the way this helps you is that you are able to use multiple open and closed LLMs. These are language modules, which you can use for, creating a data set of your own and creating something that may be relevant for one own organization. And this is going to give in a very beneficial competitive edge over your peers. So this is something that I wanted to share on the preliminary half of it. I do have access to the platform as well, but I can show you the platform that you'd be using for the learning if we have enough time for that. But I'm open to any questions that people may have at this point.
Thank you so much, Akash, for sharing the
Mhm.
information. Just for everyone who's joined in,
Mhm.
share the price that this comes at. I know it's a very reasonable price to afford,
Mhm.
and we do have some extra discount if you are going to avail in the next 2 days after joining the session.
That's correct.
So, and if there's any question, we are here. Just raise your hand. Akash will answer all your questions about this program and the fees.
Sure. So as you can see, the pricing for the India region is at 99,000 rupees. This actually converts to 2,500 US dollars for our developed region. Having said that, we do have a discount that is available for the next week itself. So any learner who's willing to go ahead for this particular program, we have launched an international cohort. There are multiple benefits in that particular cohort, which includes a flexible time adjusted for your own region. And again, all of this would be communicated as the entire program is in a live session format, live classroom format. So our focus is mainly on that. So we have created an international cohort that is starting on September 30th. We do have a $500 fee waiver that we will be able to provide you if you choose to go for the program within the next 7 days of this webinar.
Great, great. That is quite interesting. If anyone has any question, I've shared my email ID. You can reach out to Akash or me after the session. The recording of the session will also be available in case you want to go through any of the learnings that Ahmed has shared. You can use the same registration link and go through the session again. Mention in can 500 US dollars waiver if you enroll in the next 7 days. This is a special discount because you've registered for the session. In case there are any more questions, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll answer them right away. Ahmed is here. Mustafa, you can use the same recording link once the session is over, and you will be able to see the recording on the same link itself. In case there are any other questions, feel free to write to me at anna.wong@upgrad.com. If there are any questions for Ahmed or Akash, feel free to raise your hand. We can allow you to talk and you can ask them right away. Okay. I don't think there are any more questions. Thanks a lot, Ahmed, for sharing such an insightful session today with us and joining at late hours. I know you are in Egypt, it's quite late in the night. Thank you for joining in. Akash, have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone, guys. Thank you, Ahmed.
Bye bye.